He was left by his birth parents in Lebanon. The doctor said he'll never walk. I got sold on the whole mortgage business in a very Wolf of Wall Street way. You know, now you got like a certain person that's following like an Andrew Tate, having these crazy expectations.
You have these things being shown to you every single day.
You got dudes pounding their faces with rocks.
Wait, so you don't tell me. Wait, hold on. You met her 2 weeks later. She lives with you.
Pretty much.
It's crazy to think we've closed on properties together.
Well, it started with clients. I want to make more. I want to do more. Then I started working on the grill. Now I'm making like 1,000 bacon, egg, and cheeses a day.
I have literally thought things that I have not mentioned or vocalized.
But it popped up.
There's got to be some receptor in your phone that could potentially be reading your mind.
There's something attached to my digestive system. If I'm constipated, they're giving me some type of remedy.
And then you end up buying it.
Yeah, I bought this shit.
My marketing agency, the big goal is one day to sell it. I come to think about that, like if I were to sell it tomorrow, I'm not stopping anytime soon. What the fuck is next? This is a little introduction to a crazy first episode here, but I'm very pleased to have you, Mr. Massimo Aronson.
I'm honored to be here, my friend.
I appreciate you being here, bro. Dude, it's been a minute, and we have a lot to catch up on.
Definitely.
But bro, how have you been? How's everything? How's life?
Life is growth, man. It's been interesting, you know, through the ups, the downs. I know you're traveling the world, so it's great to catch up and building up your business, which is amazing to see.
Likewise.
But yeah, growth, man. It's just changing and adapting and becoming one and more in tune with the market that we're in here, and we're blessed to be a part of this market.
Absolutely, bro. And we've come a long way.
Oh.
Aside from our relationship, just individually.
Definitely.
But I kind of wanted to get into that of even how we met.
Definitely.
The whole social media thing has evolved since then. What has it been? We've known each other for 6 years.
6 years, I want to say.
And I can't even tell you exactly how we found each other unless you know that.
Yeah, it was definitely off Instagram.
Yeah.
We had a coffee at Boué.
Was it before we even met in person though? Was it like did you DM me? Did I DM you? Like, I don't even remember how we started following each other.
You are very good at capturing a certain crowd on social media. I probably happen to be one of those people. And I was in the mode of just like meeting with a bunch of agents. I think you were at Prime at the time.
Yeah, no, literally fresh out of high school.
Yeah, so and you went to tech. My mom works at tech, so we had that instant connection. And then I really like admired your hustle at such a young age, because right now I'm 32. You're
25.
Just
turned.
Yeah. So yeah, I must have been 25 at the time when I met you, and I was like, damn, this guy is gonna figure it out.
Dude,
quick.
I was 18 at that time, bro. I was 18. I think I was like maybe 2 months into real estate.
And I was like, hey, you know, in my mind, and I think this is like for other loan officers that are out there, mortgage brokers that are out there, that, you know, I think cultivating a relationship with someone that's new and kind of, you know, building the groundwork and offering guidance and advice. Look, fast forward 7 years, you and I are still like this, you know, could be not seeing each other for months at a time, but when we link back up, it's like that. And then I've helped you with all of your mortgages. I've helped all your friends with their mortgages. And that's why, you know, relationships are key, man. And
that, I mean, we'll get into that, but yeah, it's crazy to think we've closed on properties together as well.
Yeah. Well, it started with clients.
It started with clients.
You know, with clients in this neighborhood. We had a couple of nice transactions, happy clients. And then all of a sudden, both of us, like, pretty much around the same time, we're like, we got to start buying some stuff for ourselves.
Yeah. So that was 6 years ago. So you were 25. So how long were you at that point in the mortgage industry? You had just started as well?
Pretty much. So I I got sold on the whole mortgage business in a very Wolf of Wall Street way.
Okay. How's that? How'd that come about?
So, you know, I'm a blue collar guy. My family's from the food business. Okay. And they own a bagel store. My father owns a bagel store in Hoboken called Bagels on the Hudson. And I, you know, working there, tried to go corporate and work for a company, ADP.
This is between like what, 21 and 25. Did you go to college? What's
Yeah, so I went to community college in San Diego, tried to chase the football dream, continued to get injured, and then got my, you know, associate's degree from the community college, and then, you know, kind of just parlayed my my football career into getting a scholarship, like a Division III thing for Salve Regina in Newport. Ended up, not buying into the program, kept getting hurt. Football wasn't for me, so finished out my degree there.
This was in San Diego.
San Diego Community College, came back home to Salve Regina in Newport, Rhode Island, and pretty much, wasn't a firm believer in the school system. Didn't really, think that I was made for school or anything like that. So made my schedule Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I would come home and help run the bagel store Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
So you went to San Diego, came back to Rhode Island.
18 years old, San Diego, lived there till I was about 22. Really, self-development, learning myself. Still lost when I came back.
Who were you living with in Rhode Island, or when you went back?
When I came back, my brother was also going to the school at the same time too, because by the time I went through a couple years of junior college, he was at the point where he was going to college. So I shacked up with him.
Nice.
And then lived back in my parents' house, back and forth. So
and your parents' house is in Jersey?
In Wayne, and I would drive 4 hours each way every week to work.
That's
and go to
crazy.
school, work, go to school. So,
Okay.
It's and I'm sure you can relate, when your parents are first generation from another country. My father's first generation. All they know is work, even to this day. One of my goals,
blood, sweat, tears.
Yeah, I'm sure
bring home the cash.
Yeah, I'm sure the same thing with you. A big goal of mine is to help my parents retire sooner. But I really don't think, even if I were to, I don't know, become a billionaire.
Your dad wants to work till the day he dies.
That's it. People need their purpose, and
absolutely,
it's and I love that, and that's what makes me, a part of it. So
same here. I mean, I always think my marketing agency, the big goal obviously is one day to sell it, and I come to think about that. If I were to sell it tomorrow, I'm not stopping anytime soon. What the fuck is next?
Right.
So that's what keeps you going. That's what keeps us going.
Well, we see it from the previous generation, and then they kind of laid the foundation for us to take it to the next level.
Absolutely.
We're blessed in that regard. I'm not saying that, here my dad's hey, take $1 million and start a business. Yeah. It was hey, here's a broom, clean the bagel store. Absolutely. And learn how to work hard.
Yep.
Here's a bunch of dishes, wash the dishes. Here, here's a delivery, go take a delivery. Mm-hmm. And that's, how I learned, blood, sweat, and tears into that business. And it worked to a point where I was working at the bagel store while I was at college, where I started out delivering.
Yeah.
Then I was okay.
You dove right in.
Yeah. And then I'm okay. And then I was I want to, make more. I want to do more. Then I started working on the grill. Mm-hmm. And now I'm making 1,000 bacon, egg, and cheeses a day. And then
whatever brought something in, you would learn it.
And then whoever's not and then I worked the cash register, and it's hey, because whoever's working the cash register is making making the sale, right? So as you're making the sale, as minimal as one might think it is, and I hate to toot my own horn here, but I would always make the most tips for the staff, because that person who's making the transaction is the one hey, the thing's $8. Here's $10. Keep the change. Put the $2 in the tip jar. Yeah. And then by the end of the day, I had accumulated a bunch of money. Everybody loved, all the staff loved when I worked the register, because I would make the most tips for everybody.
Yeah. No, and that probably stemmed a lot, in your future career now, just networking capability, just your personality, talking to people. Just
imagine working a cash register at a bagel store that's very busy in Hoboken, and all of the people that you're servicing pretty much. It's you got your Wall Street guys who are in and out. You got you got your local people. You got your construction people. You got all walks of that Hoboken community.
Yeah,
and you say, oh shit, this guy. He's got the Range Rover. He's got the nice watch. He's got, and I admire, and I still keep relationships with these people today, and they've helped me grow in the mortgage space, right? Because it's just I admire them. I want to kind of mirror, this guy comes in with, dressed nice totally. Shoes, comes in with the nice car, nice watch. It's shit, all right, what do I got to do? What lane or what vehicle do I have to take to kind of walk in those types of shoes?
Right.
And at that time, I'm lost. I'm going to college. I'm an English communications major. In my head, I'm this degree is more to make my father, who's and mother, but mostly my father's a first generation, and in my entire bloodline of that side, I was the first one to get the college degree. So
you had that pressure.
it was like, you know, like the whole time I'm like, you know, Pops, I could just run the store.
Yeah.
And then it was just always against that. So I knew I would be a disappointment if I didn't end up going to get that degree. So went ahead, got the degree.
So you got the associates. How
No,
old
I
are you?
got the actual a bachelor's degree from.
Yeah.
So I did 2 years in community, 2 years at Salve Regina in Rhode Island. So pretty much going back and forth from Jersey to Rhode Island, get the degree, and then I'm working at the bagel store. Workaholic. Like I'm always running a part of the bagel store just because I want to maintain a certain lifestyle.
And back then, I'm sure school was in person too, because COVID hadn't hit at this point.
No, I'm literally
So you're
in
literally
class.
back and forth.
I'm in class. I'm bringing all my teachers bagels to try to get good grades. I got people on payroll doing my work. Like I'm just like completely fake it till you're making the school thing.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like, I'm literally working to pay people to do my work for school. Like it's just so crazy.
Just getting it done
yeah,
one way or another.
So anyway, end up graduating, stuck with the bagel store, but also like, you know, trying to go corporate. One of my best friends to this day, we grew up together, Brandon Salazar, who is like now like one of the most higher up people in ADP, kind of when he's like on the ground floor. He brought me into the company.
Okay.
You know, you get a small base, but then you earn commission. So I quickly learned that I'm really good at sales, and I'm like, you know, door-to-door sales guy. It's funny because when I would work at the bagel store, the ADP guy would come in and try to sell me payroll because we were on paychecks at the time. And, you know, it's like, you're in Hoboken, and it's like, it's a tough crowd. You know, this is like Hudson County. It's Hustle County. It's like, I'm running the store at the time. Like I'm the guy in charge. The ADP guy comes in. He's like, you know, you want to talk about like who does your payroll and stuff like that? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And then,
and in your mind, you were like, I low-key want to do that.
No, well, ironically, I turned into that guy.
Okay.
You know,
for ADP.
For ADP.
Okay.
You know, so that's like the way that the world works. So then, fast forward, I'm in ADP for a while, you know, kind of mundane. Like I wasn't, you know, I loved sales. I loved like the feeling of a sale, and I knew I was good at it, but I just couldn't see myself long-term selling payroll, you know, that just wasn't my thing. Right.
And you're what, 23, 24?
22, 23.
23. Okay.
At the time. So a mortgage guy calls me, you know, someone that's like in my network, and he's like, hey, I just opened up a mortgage branch. Can you come in? I'm trying to set up the payroll. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good account. Like, you know, I know he's got some good employees. I know he's got some good revenue probably coming in. So this will all like be a good sale for me. Boom, go in, closes the door. It's the whole, I just made this last month, you know, like,
so
he's like, fuck the payroll shit.
Simultaneously, he's trying to recruit you.
Right. So he's like, get the payroll thoughts out of your head. Look at this money. Come work for me.
And you're in person. You went to see him in person.
Like I'm in his office. Like I'm in his home court. He's got the toy car model that he has the same car outside.
Where was this?
This is in Wayne. This is in Wayne. So it was funny. And then so I pretty much do that. I take like an unpaid like position there where I get to learn from him, which was, you know, kind of like opened my eyes to like what was possible.
Right off the bat, did he say you need to do this and then get a license? Like,
well, license was off the jump. Like, so like I'm not going to be able to like get compensated. But again, like now I'm starting to understand like this might be my vehicle. Like, hey, okay, if you could close one deal, you could make this. If you close two deals.
You see the growth. You saw the potential more than definitely ADP at the time. Correct.
When you're getting pitched that, you're like understanding like the American dream. Part of the American dream is like buying a home. And if you are a piece of that puzzle of buying a home, like, you know, it's for me, I just saw it as super meaningful, right? Like buying a home was a super special thing for my family, and buying their first little townhouse kind of gave them the leverage eventually to buy a bigger house in a nicer town.
Yeah.
You know, so like to see their journey and to understand that journey at the time, like for myself, I was like, that's cool. And you know, if you have a good mortgage person, professional, broker, banker, whatever, like you always think positive thoughts about that person because they are a big piece of like, oh, this house is because this guy helped me with that. Right. So I kind of was sold. I was like, okay. He's like, any day you're not at the bagel store, come in, listen to me, learn from me. So like I came into the business, no connections, you know, no, I knew this guy. He asked me to do payroll, and that was pretty much it. So I'm a very friendly person. I'm a very social person, and my gift is to kind of take people's guard down and get to know them. So I did that around the office. I met all the people. I was very friendly.
While you're still at ADP, or did you just
No,
full on quit that
pretty
and
much
go
left
right in?
ADP, took on more hours at the bagel store, and then the other hours I was not working at the bagel store, I was allocating towards, learning the mortgage craft.
Nice.
So long story short, this guy who brought me in gets let go from the company. So
Wow.
now and I'm still there. Just like some unpaid intern.
Yeah.
Like
and
not,
now you don't have a quote unquote mentor
yeah,
anymore.
again, like everything happens for a reason, and I'm so grateful it happened this way, because you cut the line and you're in the deep end, and now all of a sudden you're swimming with the sharks. It's either you're gonna sink or you're gonna swim.
Yeah.
You're gonna get eaten up alive in the mortgage business when it's like, this guy's making bagels and trying to sell mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Compared to if you were to just keep on learning from him little by little, you probably would have progressed at a much slower rate.
That person, not father figure, but that mentor figure who I looked up to came in the journey because I never gave up. If you're in the game, it's time spent in the game, right? It's experience in the game.
Absolutely.
So you know who to talk to, you know who to call. So pretty much what happens is another person that was in the same office was like, hey, yo, I'm branching out. I'm going to do my own thing. I think you have potential. Come rock with me. So this guy left, went to another company, kind of brought me with him. Now I'm pretty much, the test is now passed. I passed the test, and now I'm rocking with this guy.
This is all in the span of what, 6 months, a year?
I would say, yeah, 6 months to a year.
Okay.
When I got in, call it like 8 to 10 years ago, the average age of a loan officer was like 45, 50 years old. Now the way that the market's moving, it's a much younger cat that's like doing the sales, 30 to 40, years
I think
old.
in a lot of industries it's that way too.
It's happening because it has to do with marketing. And a lot of the marketing, like, as you know, obviously, is happening online. So, a radio shout out doesn't really matter anymore, or a billboard isn't as prominent.
Newspaper,
Dude, when I first got into business, the one guy that was on every single billboard, he was killing the game. It's like, now you don't see anybody on billboards,
Absolutely.
So yeah, I end up leaving with this guy, and this is kind of like leading into COVID,
Okay.
2018. So simultaneously, my family gets this opportunity to open a restaurant in Bayonne. We were enamored by it. My brother was just graduating from college. He had no intentions of going corporate. He's like, I'm going to be the guy to run the restaurant. And I'm like, we all kind of put our brains together. My father's involved. My brother's involved. I'm involved.
And that's such a blessing too, right? Everyone has their part.
There's so many lessons that were learned along the way.
I'm sure.
Right? It's Nico's a 22-year-old kid. My brother, Nico, 22-year-old kid coming out of college, young, hungry, ready to rock and roll in the food business. We're buying a restaurant all collectively that is established. It's an established spot. We're buying it from somebody from our network. So I'm pretty much the number 2 guy because I'm hyper focused on getting my mortgage career started.
Right.
And then my father is running the bagel store, so he's like as much as involved as I am. So but when I say kind of involved, I'm working 50 hours a week at the restaurant.
And your father's still running the bagel
shop.
store.
Yeah. My dad's doing the bagel store. He has no hours at the restaurant. But me and Nico split all the managerial hours, owner operating hours at the restaurant. So one of us was there at all times. So that move may have been a risky move because the food mom and pop industry is up in the air. The cost of everything. When we first got in, we hit the ground running. We did events. People were coming out. The economy was in a pretty decent spot.
Just like 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to kind of get my feelers around the mortgage business. I'm starting to go to events, closing my first deals, getting my first handful of deals in the pipeline.
Building your network.
Building the network. And then starting to now understand how to utilize the restaurant as leverage to build a culture and community around the real estate business because we had a bar, because we had a liquor license, because we were constantly throwing events. That was my home court. You know, hey, come to the restaurant. Let's have a cappuccino. Let's have a sandwich. Let's talk
No, it
about
would all work in your favor.
yeah. Emphasis on work though, because you had to work it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like my day to day in the beginning was go to the office from 8, well, wake up at 6, go to the gym from 7 to 8, 8:30, shower, get to the office by 9. From 9 to 4:30, I would work in the office. And then from 4:30 to 5, I would drive to the restaurant and then work from 5 to midnight. Because we had a bar. So we closed at 10, but everybody at the bar would always hang out late.
Totally.
So I would be the last one out of there. So it was like 90-hour weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks. And then all of a sudden, we're making money. The restaurant's making money. I'm starting to close deals a month, every other month, you know, to pick that up a little bit.
The restaurant definitely worked in your favor in that standpoint too, because you're meeting literally new faces every day, I'm sure. It was already an integrated business, like you said, so you hopped right in to a whole nother target market, so say, in Bayonne.
You're diving into a pool of just, like, the best salespeople just talk to more people a day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're just having more conversations in the world.
Yeah.
If you're not talking to anybody, like, you know.
On top of that, you're, like you said before, you were reaching out to people, just making connections. So you're lining stuff up from all angles, pretty much.
The vehicle, like I always say, like, you know, your goal is always like, if you could see your goal, like even if it's like distant, like very far away, if you could see it, and all of a sudden you start like walking towards your goal in the beginning.
It's the little things.
And then you pick up a bike, and now you're riding a bicycle, and then all of a sudden, you know, you get one of those Uber Eats bikes and
compound interest.
Exactly. Yeah. And then all of a sudden now you're sprinting. You're like in a friggin', now you're in a car. Now you're in a fast car. Now you're in a jet. You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting to your goal quicker. But so like then all of a sudden like a curveball happened. COVID happens.
So this is 2020.
Now we're in 2020. COVID hits. Everybody's like holding on to all the dollars that they have. Less people spending money in the restaurant. The world pretty much paused. And all the employees, like, we couldn't afford them all. We had 20 employees there. Yeah. Full bar, liquor license, kitchen, deli, like Italian Salamoria, and pizza oven.
And now you have people that are not coming into your restaurant. So
well,
how do you?
Can't.
Yeah, they can't. Well,
they can't come in. Remember, there was like the thing like curbside pickup became like the thing.
Absolutely. So how'd you transition? Did you have to cut staff right away?
It was me, Nico, and one other person for the whole thing.
Okay.
And,
so you cut.
The kitchen guy.
You literally had to cut everybody.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
well,
like,
your profits. I mean, your
to
revenue was cut.
This is survival mode.
Yeah.
We had to go into full survival mode. So with that being said, you know, when you're in survival mode, I'm getting lean. I'm like, all right, I'm in war mode for for the business and for my family. Mm-hmm. So the mortgage stuff kind of took a back seat. So I worked at the time for a corporate mortgage company, and they correlate how many people's credit a month you're pulling to how much business you're going to do. Okay. So if you're not pulling anybody's credit, there's no deals like coming in,
right?
Because you have to pull people's credit in order to do business. So my manager at the time calls me. He's like, yo, Moss, you know, I noticed like you have, and he knew my situation. He knew I'm part-time kind of because I'm like running
working
a business.
Deep in the restaurant.
And I'm like, you know, dude, like I'm not going to be as available for mortgage clients as I could be because this is like a left field, like
totally
Wuhan, like what's going on, you know, like, so
and you had to transition quick. I mean, you didn't,
it was like one day, sorry, everybody, you know, like me, Nico, and one other guy are going to be working in the place, like to hold it down.
And now you're dealing with curbside pickup. You're not seeing faces.
New way of life.
Yep.
I mean, like mentally, I'm like losing it because I know like the whole time I wanted to just get so busy in the mortgage business where I can like separate myself from the restaurant and hire somebody to do what I do. But I just couldn't get over that hump with the business to where that's profitable enough. And then my mortgage business, because if my mortgage business was profitable enough at the time, I would have just paid it out of my pocket to have that employee come. Like that's where I was always at mentally. And like that kind of, so then the guy calls me and he's like, hey, you know, I noticed you haven't been pulling credit. This is like your last strike. We're going to have to let you go because you're, you know, wasting money on our P&L. Like whether that's true, whether that's not,
they're putting you on the spot.
And I'm just like, oh shit, okay. Like
I got to do something.
Yeah, literally hung up with that guy.
What do you do at that point?
As I'm in the business, you get solicited by other people. There was a guy who reached out during the process. He coached at my high school football, so we were in the same network.
And he's in the mortgage business.
He is a mortgage killer.
Okay.
His name's Casimsina. I learned everything that I know from him. The only other person I'll really say their name like as a mentor figure, I give him all the kudos. The year. So I'm like, hey Mark, I'm like, this company is telling me I'm not pulling enough credit. I told him like, I'm very busy at the restaurant. Do you think I could just hang my license with you guys, and if I do a deal, I'll put it through you guys, but I just have to figure out this COVID thing before I can really like get my feet back into the mortgage business. Oh my God, like, I'm sorry that you're going through that. Absolutely. Any time that you need to, come to the office, learn from me, talk to me. Nice. It was just magic from the minute that I kind of like had that first conversation with him. Stand-up guy, salt to the earth guy. You know, I had nothing but admiration for him. Would go to the office, he's got a t-shirt on, gym shorts, shoes that are not even like on properly. He's just like kind of like standing on the heel of it.
But closing deals on the phone.
100, I think it was like 185 million he did on his own that year.
Sick.
And I think 500 something loans. And I'm just like, this guy is a machine. 6 screens, you know, so like it was like, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's an animal. Helped me close like so many complicated deals. The company gave me a ton of deals that year when I went with him. So a pivotal moment of my career was like right when COVID was like kind of like wrapping up, where the world was coming back to normal. I remember I was getting very busy with the mortgage business at the time, and I was the pizza man. And next to my pizza station, I would have a little whiteboard where if I was taking a mortgage application, I would be able to make pizzas and take an application on the whiteboard. Obviously, I wouldn't put like people's social and stuff on there, but like, you know, what kind of property, single fam, you know, how much is your down payment, 50K.
Yeah.
You know, like the little like details that I need.
But you were full on both.
But I'm literally making pizzas and like having a pen, like the marker in my ear and writing shit down. So like you work in a deli, right? Oh, I was working in a deli. I'm literally the pizza man. You have like the same vendors that come in every day. The bread guy comes. The knife guy comes and sharpens the knives. Like the cold cuts guy, the Roma Foods guy. Like the same vendors. There's the familiar faces. And like you get to know these people. You build a relationship with these people. So like at the time, the bread guy comes in. You know, I could tell he's disheveled. And I'm on a phone call taking a mortgage application. But like we always bust each other's balls. Right? Like it was always like, he would crack jokes with me, but he'd see me on the phone. I'm like, 1 minute. And I could tell he wanted to like talk to me. He's like, he comes in, he's got like flour on his face. You know, he's like dropping off bread. He's collecting the money. And I see him like waiting. So I know he wants to talk to me. He's like, yeah, man, I'm going through it. You know, he's having like some stuff go on with his family. And he's like, listen, man, you know, he's like another like mentor, I would say, in the deli space, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But he's like, listen, man, he's like, you work with your hands, you'll make a beautiful life for your family. He's like, you work with your mind, you earn the time to spend with your family. And then like that kind of like hit me. I was like, you know, because my father was a workaholic too. Like when I was growing up, like he was around for, you know, sports and whatnot, but like he was always like when I woke up, he was gone. When I got home from school, he wasn't there yet. My grandfather was the one who would like make breakfast, take me to school, and da. So you know, in my head, my father laid the groundwork in order for me to be who I was destined to be. And I want to, you know, when I do have kids one day, like I want to definitely be a part of their lives, like make them the breakfast, take them to school, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Just like be around more.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for the way that my father, you know, worked his ass off to achieve, you know,
you have that in you because of that, you know?
Exactly. I don't hold it as resentment, like he wasn't around or anything like that. I just look up to him so much. I'm like, and my mom too. My mom worked too.
Yeah.
You know,
but all that translates into how far you've come now and how much you put your foot down every single day on a consistent basis. I feel like that's the hardest thing that people overlook. It's like just being consistent, you know? Like when you work for yourself, it's the easiest possible. It's the easiest thing in the world to sidetrack, you know,
to slack off.
You see a little bit of money come in one more than the other month, and you're like, all right, I could take a step back, enjoy life a little bit because this is what I do it for at the end of the day. But when you have that in you,
But that's the trials and tribulations of a sales guy.
Right.
Right. The sales guy's first couple of big checks, they're taking off after that, and then realizing the pipeline dries up, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I just spent all my money. Let me go. Got to go back out there and figure it out. Then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, now I'm good. Like you just got to keep filling.
You have to keep the bigger picture in mind at all times.
Man.
Otherwise, you become too comfortable.
Thinking small is like, oh, I'm going to close 3 deals and then do, one thing to spend all the money in one shot. It's like, then you start to think differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's happened to me throughout the years. I mean, we
Everybody.
talk about, like life's highs and lows. Like definitely I've had my highs and then it translates into lows because we just get too comfortable. It's like, oh, I've always aspired for this type of money in a month. I'm going to go away and spend it on this vacation or buy this or this and that. I mean, as much as I've thought that, I translate it back into how you said, like, the American dream was like a big thing in your head, like why I want to get into mortgages. For me, I've just always been in real estate. So I always thought the bigger picture was like, as much money as I want to spend and I see in my bank account, I need to save it because I want long-term wealth and I need to park that in a real estate asset.
Right.
Which I see compared to, I mean, a lot of people we like in the business, they make a little bit of money, they spend it on a car, they spend it on a vacation, they spend it on things that are just not long-term compounds. And that's the thing I'm grateful for. Is like just being exposed to real estate just puts you in that.
Right. Well, it's finding the balance, right?
Yeah.
You find the balance. If you were to take a pie chart of your income and you say, hey, this slice is going to go for now. This slice is going to go for the future. This slice is going to go, into a risky investment, like crypto or something like that.
It's a lot of diligence too, just seeing the money come in and you not spending
discipline.
It. It's
discipline because once you actually have the business, you're like, all right, if you want to grow the business, you're like, I need to hire an employee. Yep. I'm going to put aside a huge number and I'm going to take less for myself so I can make sure that this employee, because, at the end of the day, when you're growing a business, you want to sit at a table with people that are all bringing a different element. Mm-hmm. Like we'll get into my partner, Chris. Like me and Chris are polar opposites of each other. I'm like, we're yin and yang. Mm-hmm. I'm very like, out there. I'll talk to anybody at any time. He's more reserved, more realistic. I'm like super dreamer, like, let's take the biggest bite out of life and see if we could digest it. He's like, pump the brakes. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I mean, you need both. You need both. You need the risker, the risk taker, and then you need the laid back one.
I would say, there's a book, it's called Traction. I can't think off the top of my head who's the author, but when you're building a business, like you could have the right people in the wrong seats and your shit is all over the place. Yeah. But you can put the right people in the right seats and that small incremental growth that you'll see will start to happen, and then it'll it'll compound. It'll happen quicker.
You can get 2, 3, 4, 5 times done more with half the size of the team that you actually need if they're just all focused on their individual lane.
Right.
I know. I mean, I've experienced that with my business too. Like I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And it's kind of like a yin and yang, like you said, with you and Chris. Like I know Chris is very technical, numbers driven. Like he looks at the charts.
Realistic. Just super conservative.
Yeah.
And he taught me to be more conservative.
Yeah.
He taught me how to, because I came from, working and using the money that I worked that week for to allocate to my expenses. And then, I'm like living paycheck to paycheck. Like in the beginning, like I'm like, oh shit, I made $30K. Like I could spend it all right now. Yeah. He's like,
and then you don't know where your money's going. I know. I mean, I was the same way at one point. I have a partner now who's more on like the AI and the, like, I'm the visionary in my business and he's like the technical puts it together one. And that yin and yang is crazy.
Well, speaking of the book Traction, that's pretty much it says. It says when you're building a business, you need a visionary, which is me in my space, you in your space. You could kind of direct where the business is going to go, what kind of people you want to deal with. And you're bringing the people in. Yep. And then Chris is the CEO, handles the day-to-day operations, right?
Yep.
So like, to rewind back to where we were at in the story was, after that thing that the guy said to me when I was making pizza, after that, the rates went down into the 2s, and then I did 65 deals that year. Like,
That was in the same year too,
Yeah.
right? 2020. So
20,
you had
2020 and 2021. 2020 was the twos, like later getting into the twos and then the threes and then the fours. So then 2021, like I was killing it. I was killing it at that time.
and you were still working
Yeah.
hands on deck.
Still working
at the
Still
restaurant.
working until my mortgage income outweighed what I was making at the restaurant. And then once it did, I took a slow step back. I chopped my hours like pretty much in half because I was making much more money in the mortgage business with the time I was putting into that and the time I was putting into the restaurant. And that was always the plan, right? That was always the plan. So like, it was like, got to the point where now I'm hosting real estate events at the restaurant. I'm like working sometimes, making sandwiches, going upstairs. We had an office with a shower, showering, coming back down in a suit, and then networking at an event that I'm hosting.
Yeah. No, I remember those times like they were yesterday too.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
some of the best days, man.
Yeah. I mean, you leveraged everything you had there, and it all kind of just went perfectly into each other,
So, yes. So that kind of leads me to the meeting of Chris.
Yeah. Where'd you meet Chris?
So-
Did you meet him at the restaurant?
Well, so here's what happened, right? So Chris, for everybody or anybody that knows, Chris likes to gamble, right? So he posts his gambling bets. Coincidentally, I think he hit a parlay yesterday and won like 25K. This guy is
Crazy.
he's like insane. So, it was March Madness of 2021, I want to say. And I was sitting at the Ashford, and I'm just watching March Madness. I will never forget. Ashford was popping at the time. It was like kind of like low key, like the spot to be in Jersey City. So I'm sitting there, and I see Chris. Even though we never spoke, but I follow him on Instagram, another social media like thing.
And he walks in.
No, I'm just looking at his story.
You're watching March Madness.
I'm watching March Madness, and I'm just flicking through my phone, and I see he posts this bet. It's a 3-leg parlay, $50 to win like $1,300. Without even knowing him, I was like,
tailed it.
I just tailed it. I was just like, let's try it. Boom. I'm sitting next to my boy Jay, and I can't remember if anybody else was with me, but I'm sitting next to Jay. So the first game hits, right? I'm like, okay,
This guy
Chris.
knows his stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, that's good because it was three dogs. It was 3 underdogs, so the odds were good. So then now that was like the 12 o'clock game or 1 o'clock game, and then the 3 o'clock game comes on, and then that one's a close one. Then the team ends up winning. So now the 2 out of the 3 hit. So at that time, you get the option to cash out. So I put $50 in. It gave me the option to cash out for $850.
Okay.
So then I texted him, DM'd him for the first time. I'm like, hey, Chris, we don't know each other, but I tailed this bet. Are you going to cash out or are you going to let this thing ride? Because the last game was Gonzaga. And I was like, are you going to let it ride with Gonzaga or are you going to cash out? He's like, don't cash out. Only blanks cash out. Right?
Just ride with it.
Yeah. He's like, right. So, but then I looked at my boy and I was like, should I cash this out? He's like, yeah, just cash it out. So I ended up just cashing it out. I took the $850. The team ends up losing. Okay. So he lost the money. It was like $50, whatever, but I won the $850. So now I kind of texted him the next day to bust his balls.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, thanks for the tip. I ended up cashing out for the $850. He's like, so I was like, I got to take you out for a drink or something like that, like for giving the tip. So he's like, I'll do you one further. I see you do real estate events at your restaurant. I would love to host one for my agents. Right. So like in my head, I'm like, well, that's kind of a risky move because this is like my home court.
Yeah.
So you bring a bunch of real estate agents into this is my home court. This is where I'm operating out of. Like, this is like, and I was like, you nervous that I'm going to like poach your realtors? He's like, you don't look like that much of a scumbag. Like, he's like, you can even come. So then, like come hang out. In the back.
And that shows a lot about his character too,
Well, like it's funny because like as we became like brothers and like partners over the years, like, it's like to see me from the other side of the screen, it's like maybe the guy kind of does look like a scumbag. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy owns a restaurant, he's got the slick back hair, at the time. So but he was like, come. So then we end up having a super memorable night, like a great night, met some really cool people, just really memorable night. And then during the night, he goes, yo, by the way, like, if you ever haven't, he's like, explains this whole broker thing to me, mortgage broker. And in my head, I never even really heard of it because it is like a trade secret. I'm like, what is a mortgage broker? Like, I get real estate broker, you're running the
Because you were a lender at the time.
I was a banker, like a loan originator, but like a bank
loan officer
for a bank.
Okay.
Right? Like I get one set of rates that the bank offers. That's what I can offer. If the
that specific bank.
Yeah. So like literally,
Got
if the client just comes to me and says, "Hey, you offered me 4%,
but Loan Depot
gave me 3.75.
You're shit out of luck.
I could call the manager. Blah 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 blah.
Do what you have to do.
Just like, can we just match? I gotta beg,
Yeah,
pretty much the manager to give me the rate, and then I make no money on that.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Because your commission's pretty much cut
whatever
just to match the rate.
So at the time I was working for Weichert Financial, so like I left where I was at before. I got offered a $50,000 sign-on bonus. I thought it would be a great idea. I had an office here downtown in Jersey City. I had one on Grove Street and one on Washington, right up the road from where we're at right now. So I had like my own office. So I was like, this is great. And there's 140 agents circulating through the offices. So I was like getting my name out there, own a restaurant, just like being.
It was convenient.
It was convenient, but it was also like a networking play. Like
totally.
I'm in the mix. Like, this is me, and I also look legit because I have 2 offices in downtown Jersey City.
Yeah. And you had closed all these deals at this point.
Right. Yeah, I had the experience. I was very confident at the time.
Yeah. And you're what, 26, 27 at this point?
Probably around 20, 26, 27, yeah.
So that's where you had taken the full advantage of the ride of the low interest rates for about a year and a half at that point. Mm-hmm. We're talking 2.5s.
I mean, I bought one at 2.25. I bought my first multifamily in 2020 in Bayonne.
That was my first sale because I got into real estate at 2019. I did all rentals my first year. Did like 60 something.
I remember
rentals.
you were
I was just running around, just showing rentals and doing only rental listing deals. Rental agent deals. So like I was representing the tenants, just running around showing multiple rentals, and then I finally closed a deal, and that's the exact rate my first buyer got, 2.25.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
It's it's historic.
Yeah.
It's like almost like the money's almost like free at that point. Imagine, so like and like $620,000. I got the deal accepted at. The deal appraised at $650.
That was that era. Yes, yeah, that era was nuts.
30K over, So anyway, and now the same property my neighbor just sold for $950.
Yeah.
That's 6 years ago.
Okay, so you take full advantage of this COVID era, these 2.5% interest rates. You crush it for a 2-year span before you meet Chris, right? So then you meet Chris. And how does it kind of segue into this relationship that you've built now, because I think mortgages, and you guys are running the show in this entire area. How did you get to that with kind of how you said the yin and yang, but like how did you come to find that out? Like how did you end up starting together?
I would say it was love at first loan, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right? Like the first loan is exactly how we built the entire thing.
Okay.
Right?
What was that?
So as I was transitioning into, becoming a broker, learning the ways of a broker, I still had my pipeline of deals at my previous spot. So, it was at the event, Mas, if you have any deals that are falling out, that there's issues, kind of run it by me. I might be able to save the day, whatever. So
you used them as like
yeah. So this was us like kind of like in the flirting stages, like
seeing if it could work out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, coincidentally, a week goes by. I have a deal that was attached to an agent that I was doing a good amount of business with at the time. So the expectations of the agent were high. I've always been, closing all of the deals with this agent. So like when a deal blows up, this is not the fun part of the business, Now you're disappointing the agent who has tens of thousands of dollars, that they're expecting to be paid on it.
On the line.
That's a relationship that is tough to, hinder. Then you have the client who is ramping up to achieve the American dream and buy their house that they're seeing themselves in. And there's Chris always says like every deal is like a puzzle. Some deals are easy, some deals are more difficult. It's like, some puzzles are 10 pieces, 20 pieces, 100 pieces, 1,000 pieces. As long as you got the right pieces, there's a way to kind of figure it out, right?
Absolutely. And how this guy come into your life? And
So without getting too deep into the intricacies of the deal is blowing up. So ultimately, being a broker, you have flexibility on pricing. You have flexibility on options. We, on the broker side, we're not just offering one bank's pricing. We have
correct. You can go to 40 other ones.
Exactly.
Right.
And
I get that psychology because my mom's in insurance and
Right.
she did the whole agent to broker. She was at State Farm, could only filter the State Farm policies. And then it's a game changer when you can have Geico,
exactly.
Progressive, State Farm,
And
etc.
then, to kind of springboard off that is all the banks that we work with. Some banks have a different appetite for a different type of client. Like this bank likes self-employed borrowers. This bank likes W-2 borrowers. This bank,
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, every bank has a different appetite for a different client. So like we work with banks specifically because they have great pricing for VA.
Absolutely.
For veterans, and we always love to, help out our veterans. So like we take them to, we acquired this bank.
To a specific.
Yeah. So anyway, at the time, the deal's blowing up. I call Chris, Lifeline. Chris, here's the deal. Download the file, send it over to him.
And he's the broker already at this point.
He's already
You're about
there.
to get a broker license.
He's in the company. He's in a small boutique brokerage company. And
so you call him up.
So I call him. I'm like, hey, here's the deal. Here's the issue. I'm hitting a wall here. And we're supposed to close, next Friday.
Save me.
I give him the deal the previous week on like a Tuesday. I'm like, the closing is on next Friday. It's the Tuesday before. We're nowhere near to close.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, send everything over. I'll take a look. Literally 35 minutes later, calls me. Hey, transfer the appraisal. We'll figure this out. We'll close. The following Tuesday, like 5 business days later, the loan's clear to close. We close on Wednesday.
Wow.
Closed early.
Right off the bat, you're like, okay, this guy gets straight to the point. And I mean, at the end of it, did he end up getting you better terms?
Right. So the client ended up getting a better rate too.
There you go.
So in my head, I'm like, wait, is this whole like broker thing like something you got to like take an additional test or something like that? And the answer is no. Like it's like brokers and bankers are so much different, right? The banking world is like, more corporate dollars behind you.
Totally.
All that. Brokers like, potentially can make more money on deals. You run your show like your own business, like, and you have more options for your clients. So, this opened up this first deal. Like I said, it kind of is like how our whole thing blossomed was, all right, maybe I can just focus on getting the deals and Chris can focus on processing the deals and taking them to the closing table.
It opened your mind to a whole other.
I'm like, okay, well, maybe I could do all of this work, which is bringing opportunities, deals, agents, other mortgage people, other ways to developers, investors to the table. Totally. Chris and I will dissect the deals together and Chris will take them to the closing table. I'm filling the pipeline. He's turning it into money.
You start to realize that you can just help out so many other different profiles of potential clients, right? Like you said, the DSCR loans, the VA loans. Now it's like you just have a lot more to work with.
I would avoid those deals like the plague when I was like on my own. Like I was like, I don't know how to do this. I'm not even going to focus on it. I'm just going to stay in my little residential box.
And obviously you're now with this opportunity with Chris, you're going to just be 50 times more resourceful as well.
Exactly. It's right. Like, and there's a lot of learning with that because in the beginning you're just so ambitious and want to take everything in and you think everything's a deal now that you have all these options.
Right.
But you're quick to learn like, hey, not everything's a deal.
Right.
And then that was our first year. We built a very strong pipeline, came out strong. I brought all of, Chris had a network of people, but we leveraged the restaurant. We had events. We built an entire culture around our thing. And
totally,
a lot of people wanted to get involved. There was a lot of synergy. There was just like these, I take so much pride in the events that we would have because they would be at the restaurant. The restaurant was located in Bayonne, and it's like, there's a lot of, not too many people have nice things to say about Bayonne, right? But we would bring the top agents from all over New Jersey into a restaurant in Bayonne.
Right.
It's like
in a corner spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No parking. We're in Bayonne, told to get in, told to get out.
I mean, that's the power of personal branding, the power of leverage, being resourceful. I mean, you don't only want to have a personal brand and then you just not be resourceful. At this point, you have, like you said, having Chris in your corner, you just had 50 more things to offer.
Dude, we had all the crazy cars come, all these agents with the crazy cars.
And these agents want to partner with you because they see your leverage compared to everybody else.
Oh, do an event here, do this.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then also the capability to close these complex deals.
Yep.
And the capability to open up even new doors for agents. Like we started doing a lot of transactions for agents, like yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I didn't even think I was able to buy stuff yet.
Yeah.
Because like as a self-employed person, Uncle Sam's always knocking, right?
Absolutely.
And if you're self-employed and you're running a business, then you got to figure out ways to, kind of leverage yourself so that you don't have to pay Uncle Sam all that much money. And when you don't do that, you go to a Chase Bank and they laugh you out of there.
Yeah. People get that misconstrued a lot too. It's like, I mean, that's what I thought, hey, I'm making a bunch of money. Why would a bank not give me their money? But yeah, that's exactly how but it was a good first deal for me when you helped me on that because I just saw the impossible turn to possible. But at the same time, now okay, I gotta prepare myself a little bit more before I file my taxes, before I do this, before I show that, before I write everything off. Because you end up, like those type of deals, you end up paying a little bit higher interest rate, but you didn't pay Uncle Sam as much as you
Well, that's the
were
mentality
supposed
that
to.
you have to get into. So if you're at the point where your business can write a lot of things off, that's fine.
Right.
You just have to be okay with taking a little bit higher of an interest rate. But no matter what, if you pay a little bit more in an interest rate than paying Uncle Sam, this is still the cheaper option.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And then, rates can get better. You can always refinance.
Then there's tax advantages down the road on that too. Like you can cost seg something, get taxed on only taxable income, then set yourself up for the next one to have a lower down payment.
Exactly.
Just like expanding knowledge in that sense. I'm sure in that case where you had all these different options, like you were learning something new every day about all these different types of loans.
Yeah, and on the investor side, I'm taking advantage of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like bank statement loans. If you're self-employed, you're funneling, you're getting a bunch of money into your business.
Yep.
People are like, oh, well, I write everything off. There's nothing that I can do. Well, if you're looking for a primary and you're funneling, depositing a ton of money through your business into your account, there are options for you. And the options and the rates on those options are not even, half a point higher, 3/4 of a point higher than what a conventional loan would be.
So you're 32 now. You have been with Chris since when?
28.
28.
28. Yeah. So we've been partners for 4 years. So, we had a great first year together. And then after that, we were like, let's recruit. Right. So, let's start to bring people on. And that was where another big learning thing happened, where we brought on 15 people right off the jump.
And none of them were qualified.
I wouldn't say none of them were.
But a big percentage of them were.
A big percentage of them talked a big game and never backed it up. But of course, so another funny story. One of my longest partners in the business, one of our mutual friends, Alex Kaye, pretty much had dinner with a guy named Billy, and Billy was there. And, again, like mortgage guys get beat up in this business, man. It's like you're sitting, and Alex wasn't doing the beating up, but he's sitting there. There's, so Billy is at a dinner with one of the agents that he's working with, fully taking, like this is the mortgage guy. He got it, kind of thing. And he's young in the game. Like he's just kind of figuring it out at this time. So Alex happened to be at the dinner. So somehow Billy gets stuck with the bill, which kind of sucks. I think he said it was like a $1,800 bill at a dinner. And respect to Billy, he's like going to shoot a shot. He approaches Alex. Alex, I know you're killing it. Like, if you ever had any trouble with the deal, like, throw me an opportunity. Like, I did just pay for this dinner kind of thing,
Totally.
And you're here. Like,
yeah.
And Alex is like, man, to be honest with you,
I give all my deals to Mas.
I give all my deals to Mas, and I'm loyal to him, and I think you should honestly talk to him. And at the time, I owned a coffee shop in Hoboken, so Billy, that same night, I could tell because he's so driven that like, if he has an idea, he's gonna figure it out now.
The hungry ones always win.
Yeah,
somehow, some way.
He hits me that night on the way home from the dinner and says, "Hey, I just met with Alex. He mentioned to reach out and talk to you. What is your pricing like?" So that's where I loop in Chris. I'm like, "Chris, I know it's late. Let's get on the phone with this guy. Let's price some stuff out." So the pricing ends up working. So Billy's kind of already like intrigued because our pricing, like he was working for a bank. We blew all the pricing out of the water. He's like, "Oh, I can make this. I could do that." So
now
he's
he's getting that perspective.
He's intrigued by the broker model now.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Why don't you come meet me at my again?" The coffee shop, I used to own a coffee shop in Hoboken, was just another platform for me to it's just all about perception. Like, hey, this guy owns a coffee shop. He must have stuff going on.
And the in-person thing is game changer. I mean, we're talking 4 or 5 years ago now.
Dying art.
But I wouldn't say dying art. I was talking with Gio about that potentially making a comeback right now.
Okay.
Because I feel like we're so accelerated with this AI stuff that people are craving in real, like IRL stuff. Everything is like too technological at this point. It's like dating apps, like all these apps to meet and connect with people, and you're just like meeting on like Zoom calls or like coaching business where it's like you and like these coaching calls with people and you never get to meet them in person. So I think that's actually coming back right now more than ever.
I hope so.
But
again,
as well.
like those are like for you and someone from you're a little bit younger than me, you have it. You know what I'm saying? You could meet anybody at any time and like present the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And like I think that we always related on that level because like that's my strength.
Yeah.
So I tell Billy to meet me at the coffee shop. We ended up breaking bread, talking there for 5-6 hours about life, about goals, about this, about, pretty much what he's looking to do. And I'm like, Chris, I'm like, I'm kind of...
This guy might be the perfect
First
fit.
of all, like a question that I ask people when I first like interview, just kind of like put the feeler out, like if I think that they should work with us.
What is it?
It's like, what's an adversity story that you had to overcome something in your life? And like, it was like almost like he knew I was going to ask him that because he goes,
he dove right in.
My whole life has been adversity, and I hope I'm not oversharing now, but pretty much he was left by his birth parents in Lebanon. His father is a great man, adopted him. He was a little bit messed up. The doctor said he'll never walk, never be able to like do all of these things, kind of like need help a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I met him, I just thought he was just like a,
normal guy.
Like a regular guy, you know, like, so like when he's telling me this story, I'm like, what? They said, what? You know what I'm saying? I'm
like, how are you here? And
yeah,
they
I'm
said
like,
that, right?
So, and then as you're listening to the answer, you're like, this guy is going to figure it out. Like I always say, there's the guy that's like, oh my God, this guy's got the whole package. He's got the potential to be the man, like blah, 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 blah. But then there's like the man actually is there and you're like, this is the guy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And the difference between this guy and this guy is success.
Yeah, I mean, you see like things happening for a certain reason in your life and then you going through adversity and somehow making your things work. You're like, how can this not work out?
Right.
After hearing that. Exactly.
So I thought we aligned so much on a personality level, on a goal level. Like, there's certain things in all of our lives where you have these moments of realization where you're like, I'm here for a reason. Mm-hmm. And my reason to be here is to help people, help my clients, help my team and my family and just everybody around me. I know if they buy into me as a person, things will be able to level up in one way or another.
They'll escalate. Yeah.
So I was enamored by BA. I was like, this guy. So I called Chris. Again, this is where Chris and I are just so funny. He's like, he's definitely a spy from his company, just trying to figure out information about us, right?
Having that, like, I mean, that you have to have that as well, right? It's because you're like the naive one where it's like, let's go all in.
Exactly. I'm like ready to go. I'm like, let's get him tomorrow. And he's like, no, like, so I was like, all right, so because Chris lives in PA, so Chris comes once a week when we do our in-person meetings with like really, really important things. I'll meet people usually first, give them the eye test, understand what they're about, and then if I think it's something that we can work
You'll
with,
bring him in.
I'll bring in Chris. He'll come in and we'll kind of. So we had our first meeting with BA at the Brass Rail, and the rest was history, man. He's a guy that started with us, probably doing a deal, and again for us. He's doing business when we got him. It's not like he did zero. He's like, once you start to really get some momentum, you start to hear the hate. Oh, you're going to go work for the pizza boy? Oh, you're going to go work for the bagel guy? Mm-hmm. It's like you start
They're trying to bring your past into your present.
But like the thing about me is I wear it on my sleeve like armor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I'm like, yeah, my uncle wasn't the owner of this company. My father was rolling bagels. Right. You know what I'm saying? And now, now we're doing numbers. Right. So like, I'm just going to make stuff uncomfortable for people.
And it feels way better having that.
Bro, it's like I had nothing coming into this business besides an idea, a thought, and just that belief. Yeah. It's like, you heard it. Like people were saying it. They're like, I'm seeing these things and it's just like, and then.
Like that's what you're bringing up. That's what you're trying to discredit me
for?
The
funny thing is that just fueled the fire. Mm-hmm. That didn't do anything. That wasn't going to slow me down. Yeah. And believe it or not, BA believed in us from the jump too. It fueled him. He's a guy that did, a deal every other month when we started.
And he wasn't a broker though.
No, he was a banker.
Yeah, he got this whole perspective from you guys, wanted to grow. So he partners up with you.
Yeah, he partners up with us. He starts to work for our branch. So yeah, there's immediate like hate and all of this stuff, and then we brought on more people, and then a guy, I'm working out in the gym. There's a couple people that I'm friendly with in the gym. I'm just friendly with everybody everywhere, and a familiar face from the gym is like, hey, my husband just got his license. He wants to do mortgages. This guy named Darren. Darren gets on the team. He starts kind of doing his thing too.
So now you're kind of filtering through the winners and the
time wasters. And there's the time wasters are like, they come on strong. Like we have all this, we have this, we have this. Now we're like, setting up meetings with like, I don't even know what we're doing. I'm in like a house in Newark trying to do a wholesale deal. I'm like, what am I doing?
And through the experience of hiring these winners or bringing on these winners, you come to just filter out all the bullshit that is kind of put in your face with all these people that are just time suckers.
Yeah. And I would just say what I learned is you can really get to where you're trying to go with like a intimate like wolf pack of people that are super like-minded, who are driven, who understand like, not to be disrespectful in any way, but like a chain of command, like, like this is how we do things. We're going to, you have to trust that the system's going to work.
Absolutely.
And then, our back end, we're building the back end around this time. We hire a full-time employee, Tom, and Tom starts coming in, really helping shape our business and getting down the intricacies of the process. And like before the revenue got big, we started paying Tom big so that when the revenue came, we were ready.
Yeah. Just reinvesting everything back in.
Exactly. Yeah. So then, little by little, like it was just such an amazing thing to obviously watch me and Chris's business go from, this to double it, to double that, and then fast forward to now.
And at the same time, you're building this wolf pack, so say.
Right.
So how many of you is it at this point? It's you, Chris, it's me, Tom, BA.
Me, Chris, Tom, BA, Pete, Darren, Marcel is our PA. He's in Pennsylvania.
So you got about 8 guys at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's fast forward to now.
Okay.
And then we have a couple more coming in, like as we speak, which is exciting. I'm not going to say anything right now, but we have even more exciting news coming probably at the end of the summer. But to see a guy like Bill Anthony, who was like kind of just figuring it out. When he first came, I think his first year he did 8 million with us. Then year 2, he did 18 million, which is that's a life-changing money right there. Absolutely. To do an additional 10 million. Yeah. And then last year, his third year, he did about 30 million. So like to watch that jump in his income, like when he first came on, he had a second job, bussing tables and like
he's through the ups and downs. You see someone through ups and downs in life, and that's what makes them persevere through these hard moments. It wasn't an easy time frame in the mortgage business either. You're talking higher rates.
Right. This is that's when it got weird for a second there.
Exactly.
For everybody.
Everyone took a pause. They're like, wait, I could have just took out a mortgage a year ago for 2%, and now we're talking 5%,
I'm
6%.
waiting for it to go back down.
Right.
And now all the buyers who were approved for, $700,000 at a 3% rate, now the rates go up. Now they're only approved for 5%, and there's 1 million people approved for 5%.
Right. No, just a lot of doubt and fear installed in the market. Now, how do you think this all has applied to like your personal life? Like, I wanted to get into how, I mean, you're engaged, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 years ago, right when Chris and I took off, I met my fiance now through a real estate transaction.
Crazy.
My brother Zach and his girl were buying a house with Chris and I was the mortgage people and Alex Kaya was the agent. So ultimately I went to Zach's girl's Ashley job in Jersey City at a salon. She does hair. At the time she was working in Jersey City, and I saw a beautiful girl doing hair, and Zach was like, yo, that's my sis. He's like, if you were to try to holler at her, that's my sister. So like,
don't waste her time.
Like, don't do the Massimo thing that you were doing at the time.
Think before you act.
Yeah. Like tread lightly.
Yep.
If you want to like pursue that,
at least he gave you the warning, for sure. Yeah. And at that point in your life too, you're much.
Oh, I'm a bachelor. Living in my own crib,
building the business, reaping the benefits of it all.
Living in Hudson County, New York's right there. All these places are right around me.
Totally different era.
In my 20s, I was, as life progresses, you're like, all right, life could be crazy if I just had money, and then, if I had my own house, and then if I had a nice car, and like all this stuff is happening, and then all of a sudden I meet this girl. And like, well, also like in terms of my business, it's like, you're a young dude, you own a restaurant, you're building a mortgage business. Charisma is a huge piece of like my thing. I'm just constantly attracting a younger crowd and bringing in all of these young agents and, kind of like being that guy.
Yeah, you're deep into,
like creating that culture.
Absolutely.
Young, sexy, like, great looking agents, men and women, all coming into the restaurant with like all kinds of intentions. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm. So you're in the middle of that.
That's like my life on a weekly, like, it's just, that's it. And then
your friend Zach introduces you to Bree.
And then
what changes?
So 2 weeks after that, she moves into my house, and then that was it.
Wait, so you don't tell me. Wait, hold on. You met her 2 weeks later. She lives with you.
Pretty much.
Wow.
She was still living with her family at the time, and my house was like 3 blocks away. So it's like pack a bag.
And you guys literally connected off of day one.
I mean, yeah.
What's your perspective on that? Like, did you know?
I think
you knew she was the one.
You know, man. You know, and I think like it's hard for somebody to go from the lifestyle that I was living into like living with someone. It's like a lot of changes up front, like your normal tendencies and like your normal, like you're a younger guy in your 20s, you're getting a lot of attention.
Absolutely.
You're getting a lot of attention. So like you're kind of used to a level of attention, and it's like,
but now it opens a whole other world for you where you're like, okay, you know what? Like I really like this girl.
And I was willing to make the sacrifices.
Exactly. I mean, for the right one, you're willing to do it, and you put your foot in and went from there. And I'm sure it opened a whole other perspective of life. Now you're like thinking long term. It also changes a lot of decisions you make as well. Hey, rather than doing this crazy risky play, wait, let me think long term because I might have a family now at one point.
Well,
right?
That's a great point, because I was doing a lot of deals with younger, agents that like would make a couple sales and then like you wouldn't see them because they go to Miami or something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where it's like I was kind of forced, because to be a respectful, good man, like that's not the business I was really trying to go after anymore. And that pivot made me like change the whole way I was going after business. And at the time I was a little bit frustrated, but in the long run, I ended up doing business with more family people. What do they have? More responsibilities. They have to be more disciplined. They're not making a $15,000 commission check and disappearing for 2 months.
No, you're dealing with people that are more grounded, more structured. They have a foundation. And it probably came at the exact, like it came at the perfect moment for you. I feel like
her and Chris, both Leos, of course, and I met them within like 6 months of each other, and now I'm like, so many Leos around me, man. But it was just so interesting because I was living such a different lifestyle, and then it was like night and day. Like when you're living with your significant other, and I give her so much credit for like being patient with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because and learning and her growing into her career, and
100%.
like me supporting her career, because she was like just figuring it out at the time too. So like she's going to hair school, she gets into a great salon in Hoboken, she develops her own personal brand. Now like her name goes wherever she goes.
Yeah.
She could like be like, oh, I'm gonna go do hair in Miami, and like she could get into a salon there, show her your portfolio of her, she's a colorist, so like you could go on her TikTok or her Instagram and you could just see her work, and anybody would hire her,
right,
based on her craft,
and it's all formed together throughout your relationship, which is beautiful to see, bro.
Thank you, man.
I congratulate you, because
thank you,
it's crazy to see. Like I mean, I've seen your growth, like I said before, obviously through the business side of it, but now through the personal side of it, it's just
I've grown so much.
And so many life lessons in between.
Yeah, the lessons never stop.
What do you think of this whole, I wanted to pick your head a little bit on, just think like this whole society as a whole. I have it slapped in my face, I feel like a little bit more than others, in terms of AI, social media, digging into relationships. Mm-hmm. Like for instance, like when you met your now fiance, do you guys have those like hard conversations where it's like, look, we live in an era where dating is fucked, relationships are fucked. Not even like dating and relationships as a whole, but just psychology is fucked. There's a lot of relationships falling apart just because of, oh, you liked this.
It's misalignment.
Or it's misalignment, but at the same time, I feel like the social media, the algorithm as a whole is kind of out to get you.
I think the powers that be are, if you're not aware, the powers that be can control you so much easier now than how it could have in the past. Like, music is a big way, a rapper says, I popped a perk or something like that. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden everybody wants to pop a perk, or, you know what I'm saying? Or the news is specifically focusing on, but on this one thing to get everybody's like up in arms about something, to be like, to act a certain way.
There's just rhythms being installed by this new generation.
But now it's right here.
Right.
It's on your phone.
Right.
Right. So like, it's just so crazy. Like I noticed like relationships getting rocky with not just with like a group of people, because, now you got like an Andrew Tate, a certain person that's following like an Andrew Tate, having these crazy expectations.
That's what my point was in terms of psychology.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you have these things being shown to you every single day, or not even you seeing it, but because you hear it from someone else. It's like you're almost
exposed.
You're exposed to too many thoughts that you shouldn't have even been exposed to. Comparing it to like our parents and the relationships in that era, where it's like they just had 10 million less things to think about.
My generations with cell phones were just first coming out. It was like before like the cell phones were really a thing. It was like, hey, Mrs. So-and-so, can I speak to your daughter?
Right.
Like you're calling like the house phone back in the day.
Right.
Which is like that. Or like if nobody's answering the phone, you're like pulling up and knocking on your boy's door to like go play outside.
Right.
Now it's like, get on the game, or.
No, just, I mean, psychologically, like let's say you start talking to someone, you want to know everything about them. You look them up on the internet. you look at their social media. You have 10 million things to judge a person on before you actually even know the person.
You already know their mutual friends.
You know their mutual friends. Even if they liked something 3 years ago, now you have something else to judge on.
Yeah. No, it's a scary time.
Scary times.
I would say this. When I met my fiance, I could tell her heart was, she just has the biggest heart, and she's like the most down to earth. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. Like in in like your very pretty way, you know, like, and it's just like it shines through her heart, and she's very passionate, and I fell in love with everything about her, and I think like we were super aligned on just like I'm a good person, you're a good person, nobody's perfect. As long as we can like we're always going to get into a fight. Like if you were to hang out with us, we're like arguing half the time, you know, like we're just like constantly like going back and forth, but like, you know, it's all love, you know, it's not always easy. Again, like she met me in a time when, you know, when I was kind of really out there. So,
I mean, that says it all. You know, she had the patience to see what you were about. If you could be trusted, if you could be aligned with how you are aligned today in today's days.
At the time, you know, I was in my late 20s, she was in her early 20s. And like when you're meeting someone in their late 20s, they kind of like, for the most part, like kind of have it figured out. Like I kind of had it figured out, and there was some patience on my end too, while she's trying to figure out what her vehicle to success is.
Right.
And I was very supportive of, you know, with going to school for hair and like getting set up in a salon, and you work in a salon and it's like the drama that comes with the salon constantly. So,
absolutely. No, and that's what makes it special. I mean, look, that's why you're engaged. You know, you have a special relationship that supersedes 99% of the relationships nowadays.
Listen, you know, nobody has a crystal ball, but you know, I'm confident that her and I will be together forever. But going back to society overall, you know, I'm not the most religious person. I did go to a Catholic high school. I was confirmed. I did my confirmation. I did, you know, kind of went through all of the Catholic motions. But I think as society, and now I believe in a higher power. I believe in the universe. I believe in being a productive member of society, always being kind. You know, that's my thing. Like I'm always kind. I never judge. But as society moves away from religion, that's why a lot of things now are getting, like, in my opinion, getting lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a strong family household. There's so many different things that I was believing that's like, you know, the norm today.
No, the opinions have just gotten stronger because of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And people are believing those opinions, even if they're not really what they've believed in before, but because they've been exposed to it, they've let it take over their mind.
What's happening is the media is creating a whole other category of consumers.
Absolutely.
Right? So like as they're creating this category of consumers, they're like, oh, if they are into that, then I should be into that because I want to do it like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and I think that above all, awareness is key.
I think awareness is one of the most important things you need as a human right now, which why, you know, faith ties back into that. You know, if you're a faithful person, you're a little bit more aware than I believe than the one that doesn't have any faith in anything. And what I think that getting back to what you just said with people seeing things and kind of like unconsciously making decisions based off of things that they see, it's also scary. It's very scary because you can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. So if you like a certain thing, just because you might have typed that thing in on Amazon or on Facebook or liked a video related to something, they're throwing it in your face. And that's the scariest thing, you know? And nowadays I've realized, because I'm deep into this social media stuff, I'm literally running ads for clients who need to target a specific demographic. And it's gotten so psychological in that what you're being shown on the makeup of it, what you're being shown on your feed is what you're dealing with in real life.
Dude, it's you got dudes pounding their faces with rocks to make their, I'm just like,
the looks maxing.
Look, I don't even know what this is. Yeah. You know, like I'm hearing all of this stuff. Like my fiance is younger than me, so she's like tells me all this. I'm like, what is going on?
That stuff is crazy. It's being followed by millions of people. It's ridiculous, and that's just like the surface level of it, right? Like, imagine the millions of people going through their certain situations. Like it could be anything from a breakup to someone passing. Let's say a cousin passes, right? The algorithm knows your cousin passed.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to see all different memes pulled from you're pulled from movies, pulled from clips that you've seen as a child
that are hitting on heartstrings,
and they're hitting on strings that you're just like, you can't stop the emotion in yourself as a human being after seeing things like that. And it's getting worse and worse because it's more and more directive as to what you're dealing with.
But if the awareness isn't there, you just slowly fall into line.
Correct.
You just slowly fall into this cult following of whatever the algorithms determine. It's like the algorithm, like, I say something like, I was looking at these shoes. Now the shoes are on the algorithm.
Right.
And now they know, like, this guy, once it pops up, there's a 1 out of 10 chance he's going to buy the thing.
That's the beauty of it, right? It works in a shopping manner, right? Where it's going to show you products and things that you can actually buy.
Then shaping society.
But it's shaping society as a consumption standpoint.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, your cousin dies or you break up with your girlfriend or boyfriend, and that's all you're seeing on your TikTok and Instagram. And it just changes the way that you persevere life. You know, if you're dealing with a breakup and you're seeing a video from, like, what's that movie with like that whole the one of the biggest romantic movies,
The Letter, or what is that?
the Notebook, or
yeah,
the Notebook, right?
Go.
Those things, like, they'll pull a movie clip from that and they'll add, like, when you lose the love of your life, right? And, like, women and, you know, men and women see these things over and over and over again. And it's like they wake up to, first of all, it's the first thing that they're waking up to.
Right.
Right. So
immediate scroll.
They're seeing something emotional, and it's shaping society, because the second you feel emotion within the first 10, 20, 30 minutes of your day, you feel like shit about your day.
Right.
You don't want to go about your day. And if you really think of, like, the tiny, tiny things that moves within one person, imagine that a million times over and over, and hundreds of millions of people are being affected by it. And that's why society as a whole right now is very fucking scary.
It's lost, man.
It's lost, bro.
It's lost. You got people adding no value to society whatsoever, being followed like a cult. You got people talking, you know, like, again, you're a productive member of society. You're actually impacting people's lives in a positive way. You know, I'd like to think the same thing about myself. Any room that we ever go into, we can add value in that room.
Right.
Right? Like, you got people pounding their face and saying, this is how you get all the girls, or this is how, you know, you're going to get more followers. It's like,
but it's getting worse and worse as these generations come in as well. Right. So someone like that, he's in their mid 20s, or let's say 22, 23. And that target market he's hitting is the people who don't even have a frontal lobe developed
Correct.
yet. So it's 16, 17, 18-year-olds thinking that's the way. And
but that's what I'm saying. That now they're sheep to whatever this guy's saying.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden the guy's like, oh, by the way, take this drug.
Correct.
And then the people, pulling the strings,
right,
are benefiting off of this drug now being exposed to this whole cult following. It's like, no matter what they're selling, they're going to buy it.
I mean, that's the scariest thing. It's like, for instance, we're in this room, we made this amazing connection off of social media, but then there's this whole dark side of it that is really, really scary for just the next 5-10 years. Then you have the discussion of how AI is going to even 10 times this as what we're seeing right now.
Because it's going to know everybody's mannerisms 10 times more.
Everything.
It's like they're going to be able to predict not just the next move, the next 4 moves that you're going to make.
I think this, right? I think this a lot on a daily basis. It comes into my mind, which is we have access to, like, Claude AI and GPT and all these different AIs. In reality, if you come to think about it, the government or whatever higher department, within governments there had access to this 10 years ago. We're probably 10 years behind what they have access to.
Right.
I've noticed too, aside from, like, you clicking on a shoe and then seeing something like that pop up on your feed, or aside, your cousin dying and you seeing a cousin death post and you being depressed because you're constantly being reminded of it, I have literally thought things that I have specifically not mentioned or vocalized.
But it popped up.
And it pops up.
See, that's where things can get scary.
So I don't want to get demonetized or anything, but there are things in my head that say, if we're 10 years behind on AI and everything, there's got to be some receptor in your phone that could potentially be reading your mind.
I know.
We're in 2026 and Elon Musk wants to, like, install chips and stuff into people's head. But like, come on.
There's something attached to my digestive system. If I'm constipated,
It's-
they're giving me some type of remedy.
It shows up, bro. And then you end up buying it.
Yeah, I bought this shit.
Buying it. Soursop. You're telling me soursop.
Yeah, I was like, yo, this shit's working like a charm.
Dude, bro, it's ridiculously scary. But that is one sector of how society is fucked as a whole. Then you have, because of those things, is like you have people being 10 times, 100 times more selective with who they're being surrounded by, just based off of like what they think that person knows, or how they represent themselves, or what they think that person likes, right? But like nowadays, if like you ask someone their interest, it's 100 times more interest that they have than the person 25 years ago, because we're exposed to 100 times many more things. So that's what's scary too, because that's how it's affecting your subconscious mind. You know, it's like, oh, I don't want to be friends with that person because they liked an Andrew Tate video, or they reposted this video, right? So all these little like triggers on these platforms, it's almost like whoever's the higher up in charge in society,
dude, they're having their way, man.
They're having their way, unfortunately, as horrible as that is, because the repost feature, the like feature, the this, the that, it's all in everyone's face. You can't do anything at all without someone else knowing about it. It's scary. And so that's how that's how it triggers an entire shift in society. You know,
Easily.
It's like you think about this couple that was together and they broke up because of this, or you think of these tight ass friend group since high school, but because this person thinks this and this thing and the other thinks the
political
other,
views.
Political views or whatever it might be, social
what was
media
that
views.
The social dilemma? What was that, the social dilemma?
Yeah, that's like,
that was an eye-opening thing for a lot of people, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago from now. Think about where we're at now.
The whole social dilemma film was like, I believe it was like 1% of what we're currently dealing with. You know, that just gave you the kind of surface level effects of just social media as a whole. But like, yeah, no, the little things that they've been able to install is,
bro, it's all about the consumer's attention. How can you capture the consumer's attention constantly? And it's just, you know, the AI is constantly just figuring out ways to drive like people used to drive into Manhattan 20 years ago and focus on the billboards and like what's on the billboards, you know, like now everybody's driving and like looking at their phones, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so everybody's fighting over that digital attention, like, and it's all data. Mm-hmm. Oh, they stopped on this ad for 7 more seconds than the last ad. Mm-hmm. You know, let's put this one back in front of their face.
It's ridiculously accurate. And that goes back into our point that we talked about earlier with like newspaper ads and all this stuff. Who is going to use that nowadays? You know, like that's,
you got my grandma sending me, you know, stuff.
Exactly.
You know, my grandma's on the algorithm harder than anybody. Exactly. And they're the ones that are got the worst.
Exactly.
I love her to death, but God forbid she sees like a political post. She's ripping someone.
Yeah, it hits a piece of humanity that like they just weren't exposed to before, you know?
Hitting on those heartstrings, it hits it 10 times harder.
Bro.
Meanwhile, half the stuff that they're looking at is fake.
100%.
It's just rage.
The whole
old school rage bait.
The whole like boomer industry is fucked, and the whole grandma and I don't even know what the generation of like 60, 70-year-olds plus is called, but that generation, I've seen pages that are fully made on AI. I made a video on this, but basically what they do is they have like a fake AI video, and they'll have like some guy, like he'll be fat, and then they'll transition him into like a full-on bodybuilder, and it'll hit like a core emotion.
I saw that.
It'll hit a core emotion like, she divorced me, and this is what I did after, right?
Meanwhile, the guy is it's an AI guy.
He's an AI guy, and then they bring that into a product. So now not only are you taking over the attention economy, but you're taking over the actual economy, because it's like, buy my $13 course on how I changed my body in 90 days. All done by AI.
The powers that be got so, like, their moral compass got so far away. Like, I think it was regulated coming up, and now it's just the Wild West. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, same thing with the... you know, we live in the prescription drug capital of the country here, North Jersey, New York. in this area, in the metropolitan area. It's so it's like you see all these documentaries coming out about how people's moral compass, they knew what was going to happen. It was an epidemic.
Yeah.
But they were not regulated.
Maybe that's a crazy good point, because maybe that's definitely, if it's not all, I mean it's most, but that could be the big driving factor of this whole algorithm thing, right? So like going back into the emotional things that you see on your feed with whatever you're dealing with, that can lead you into being depressed. And then what happens when you're depressed?
Trust me,
you get pills prescribed,
and that's why it ties into the music. You know, again, the powers that be control the entertainment business, you know, the music. They control the prescription medication business. You know, so again, like these people were kind of regulated for a period of time and like couldn't have been, you know, that out there or just never got caught like this. But like, it's kind of like right in everybody's face.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the food industry. In the 1990s, early 90s, my mom is like a health freak. So like she keeps me on my P's and Q's with this stuff.
Good.
But in the early 90s, they went from cooking like McDonald's food and fast food with beef tallow into using vegetable oil, right? Because it's a cheaper alternative. Now, follow me. The people who were, you know, creating this vegetable oil and putting it in to the fast foods and selling it because it's a cheaper alternative than beef tallow knew the health repercussions that would come from cooking food in vegetable oil. Mm-hmm. Same people that made the medication to fix you years later.
It's all tied. I mean, if you look at like all these big companies, they're like either owned by someone's family who traded with this family, and then this ties into that. Yes, absolutely. It's all somehow controlled by whoever was tied up in that.
And that's why awareness is key. And that's why when you see like this Epstein stuff come out, you know, I hate to say it, I'm like a conspiracy guy. In high school, I'm saying all of this stuff is messed up. They're throwing like all these drugs into these songs recently, like rap and hip hop and all of this music always had, you know, some level of something in it.
Yeah. No, but now it's just more demonic than ever.
Talking about the exact prescription drugs. And now you have a whole younger generation being like, I got to get my hands on some perks. I got to get my hands on some Xanax. I got to get my hands on some lean. Hyper
specific.
And guess who's the people that's selling it? You know, it's like...
and that's why then you come to think like, how did this stupid kid like smashing his face even get famous in the first place or get clout in the first place? And you can't help but think is like, is he an industry plant? You know?
He is.
Yeah. I mean, you come to think about it, it's like from one day to another, like these guys have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and all this stuff. And it's like, what?
This guy is a perfect candidate to get the masses to believe.
Yeah.
Put him here. Give him a platform.
He's got the structured jawline.
He's got the look.
He's got the look. Let's run it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's run it. Turn the algorithm on. Get this kid in front of as many people as we can. And let's push the agenda. And guess who's going to follow it? The sheep.
All the sheep. Yeah. I mean, that's why I think that's why faith as well has become more popular than ever. Like, yes, there is a huge overruling where that's the total opposite. Like you said, like the installation of like the drugs and like everything in music and all this social media stuff. But I follow a lot of people in my space, on Instagram, on all these platforms. And like a lot of people have been turning to faith. And I think that's just them being so tired of that stuff being fed that it's like, if you don't have faith at this point, you're just one way or another, you come to think like, oh, is that true? But you know, you have faith, you can block it out as much as possible.
I think faith is a great thing to lean on too when you feel yourself moving out of character.
Yes.
You know, it's like, hey, I'm picking up bad habits. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm not feeling great. Hey, you know, if you have a great family, I haven't been seeing my family. Like, you know, it's like, that's a great way to kind of find yourself and reconnect with yourself and have gratitude and all of that stuff. But like, what religion, I don't care if you study Islam, you know, if you're Jewish or if you're Christian or something like that, everything is pretty much telling you to become a productive member of society. Yeah. Right? Be
it's
kind,
all positive.
Respect.
It's like, positive.
It's just be a good person at the end of the day. And if whether faith is involved or not, if you're doing that, the universe or a higher power or whatever you believe in is going to reciprocate that energy and put you in a better space than where you were in the past.
Absolutely. Know? But it's come to even for the people with faith, and even you could be, you know, the most outstanding human being and positive and have all these good things happen to you. One way or another, these things are so heavy in society that they come to bite you in the ass one way or another,
100%.
whether you like it or not.
Adversity is always around the corner.
So that's something, like adversity is like the biggest challenge with this whole modern.
Well, the thing of, you know, I hate to say it, but you know, it's, and I think that every generation, the generation before us was saying the same thing, like, oh, this generation, next generation, like, it's weird, they're soft, like, but like, you know, it's like only the strong are gonna survive. Mm-hmm. Only the strong are gonna be the ones to change their family lineage.
That's the scariest part, is you don't know how this is going to affect. Like, if you want to have kids, you have to consider all of this stuff, how it's going to evolve. If we're this deep into all of this, what is it going to be in 5, 10, 15, 25 years? That's what makes it the hardest. That's where my point of, one way or another, whether you're faithful, whether it comes to bite you in the ass and it forces you to have to make certain decisions.
Yeah, well, I mean, even you relate it to your own family. Like I'm in a much different generation than a lot of my cousins. And I thought, like, I'm high stepping out of this, like, weird thing that's, like, right behind me. But meanwhile, like, you know, my own family's, like, constantly exposed to this stuff all the time, which is, like, you know, just exposure at a young age. You know, there's no, you know, the internet and all of this stuff when I was younger was like, I remember, like, potentially trying to see, like, something interesting, you know, a naked girl on there. You had to, like, slap the TV to like get the screen to, like, stop being fuzzy for a quick second. Like, and I mean, now it's just like,
that's a whole nother segue, but yeah, just how easy it is as well to just look at stuff like that, you know, or just look at anything you could think of. It's at your fingertips, which is fucked, bro.
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to have to figure out that's what our next,
you know, because again, like, growing up, I didn't believe in school. I don't need school for the work that I do now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so like, but like, I think I wouldn't be who I am today if I wasn't having all of that social interaction at such a young age. That kind of helped me develop into who I am. And I moved 7 times before I was the age of 13. So, like, it was always like, make new friends, make new friends, make new friends, make new friends. Like, it was just, we bopped around a lot when I was young. And I think that helped me develop. But, like, it's like, do I want, like, my kids one day to be exposed, or should I homeschool them? You know, like, you think about this
a lot of different, I know. And at the end of the day, it goes back to our point with awareness, you know. It's like, as long as you're aware and you're not being overly consumed, that's the only way. You gotta hope somehow it gets better one way or another. But yeah, it's fucking scary times, bro. And it's like anything else in life, you don't know what to expect because you don't know the outcome. So that's just our generation that we're living in. But we have the years ahead to
faith and belief, and surrounding yourself with people who are aware and who you are aligned with. Absolutely. You know, and it's like, you really have to be careful with the company you keep. You know, because, you know, when you start your journey and when you start to come up, you notice, you look around and you see, like, people who you thought would be clapping for you are now, like, not, and just potentially conspiring against you. And you know, some, like, as soon as you start doing good, all the fake people just kind of start falling out. And you'll know, and the real people stick. You know, I still have the same friends when I was 13.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's crazy. And, like, anybody who was a fake friend found himself not around anymore.
Bro, we gotta take it day by day. We gotta see how this plays out. You know, unfortunately, it's out of our control at this point. You know, hopefully it's in the positive direction rather than the negative, but it's out of our control at this point. You know,
you're right.
But brother, it has been an absolute pleasure.
I'm honored to be here.
This is one of many different segues and episodes and topics that I'm starting to take on podcast wise, but we could go on and on about 50 other things. We're gonna have to do a part 2 ASAP. But that part 2, I feel like we're gonna be in a whole different stage of life. You know, at the
Who
pace
knows?
that we're evolving at.
I mean, you already own real estate in multi-states. I'm trying to catch up to you. My next purchase is in Florida, so
Out of
maybe we
state.
do the next pod in Florida at the new condo.
Maybe you buy the lot next door.
Yeah, no. That's what it is.
Buy the lot next door. We set our families to be grown up in the same block,
Oh, that would be
and then
great.
we do a pod in the backyard when we connect our lots.
No. The what you mentioned to me the last time of the single family house in your area, I'm open to that. So
Okay.
we'll do the next pod in Florida in your hood.
Let's do it.
All right, brother.
Before I completely wrap this up, these are 2 brands I just want to quickly shout out. We were kind of talking about like the healthy lifestyle. You know, I'm a health freak. Everybody does Zins.
Mm-hmm.
This is a company in Jersey. It's called Puck.
Okay.
It's got clean ingredients. It's basically nicotine without all the extra. Because Zins, they do have nicotine. They'll keep your ass moving and focused, but it's got a lot of chemicals and bullshit in it. So check out Puck, and they're made in America rather than Zin being made in hundreds of different countries. You don't even know where it's coming from. And then these cookies it's called anabolic sweets. Okay. Now this has a story attached to it. I'm going to briefly touch up on that. This guy was over 300 pounds at one point, and he got like diagnosed with a bunch of different things, including like mental health issues. And he has a passion of baking, and he completely transformed his life. He started eating different. He started working out, and through his journey, he made these cookies that are made with all natural ingredients.
I love that story.
And it's completely changed his life. So now he's not 300 pounds. He's much lighter. And he's made this company that has, it's basically 20 grams of protein in a cookie. And just FYI, you can walk into a ShopRite or even a Whole Foods. Whole Foods is great, has the best food, but you can walk in these places and you're shown the worst things in the world first.
Right.
So if you go and look at like a dozen chocolate chip cookies and you flip the label and you look at all the ingredients, it's got all these bullshit cakings and like stuff that is just horrible for your body that people overlook. Mm-hmm. This stuff is literally made with pasture raised eggs, rich brown sugar, brown butter, and chocolate. That's it. And you have 20 grams of protein.
I got to buy one of those for my mom. My mom would love that.
And I'm all about that because I don't eat, like you said, the vegetable oil. And I don't have any seed oils.
Good, man.
None of that stuff. So check them out.
From that.
Anabolic Sweets and Puck. Pleasure, brother.
Oh, man. I love you, man.
Peace.